stay down, down. I'm just stuck here in a dream. I'm at the bottom of the ocean. I'm at the bottom of the sea. I'm gonna stay down, down. I'm just stuck here in a dream.
Freedom is the right of all sentient beings. Let's roll.
I'm your host. Of course, I got Spanky.
Hey, y'all.
Oh, man. How am I coming in? Y'all coming good?
Loud and clear.
How do I sound? Let's see. Let's see. Hang on.
You're not asking me. I can
I'm just asking the audience because, again, hang on. Let's see. Man, let's see. Do I sound good? Do I sound good at all? Do I sound? It's crazy with this new mic. You know, because me and CQ talking about getting new mics and getting new stuff, and we're like, you know, CQ likes to get up all on the tech, so I'm like, man, I got to get up on the tech to see what's up with the, see what's up, because CQ is basically like freaking tell me, hey, we need to do this, and we need to do that, and we have to have this, and then we have to have that. I'm like, bro, of excellence, stop. What else do we need? You know what I mean? So
he would just probably lose it if he came and saw like my setup, with my like $5 earbuds and mic I'm using.
Yeah, he's like, well,
I tried to set up the fancy microphone. It didn't want to work. So, like, you know what works? My little $5 earbuds that I just plug in.
There you go,
works.
Branko. Exactly. There you go, Branko. See, she's sitting there with her clam chowder, freaking her clam chowder microphone set up and headphones.
Yeah.
I'm bummed out because one of my little props behind me, just the battery went dead. I was like,
oh no.
So my little NVG looking, looks like, man, that sucks. I think I forgot to charge the battery is what it was. I forgot to do some proper PMCS on my stuff. I know Sergeant's time today is all PMCSing. Today's unit ball cap is a First Armor Division, so you can see old iron sides, iron soldiers, yada yada.
I mean, we haven't done this in weeks.
I know, it's like
we had a Christmas Exodus type thing going on.
Still don't know what to do with my hands. I still don't know what to do with my hands. I was like, for the first few seconds, or first minute or so while we're talking, I didn't even have my camera up. So I'm like, everyone's so used to seeing me on a camera now. So I would be robbing the audience of my camera presence if I didn't post the camera. So
they all come to see your beautiful face.
I got a face for radio. What are you talking about, man?
I got a face for radio. That's why I don't have a camera. I got $5 earbuds, and you think I know how to set up a camera too.
I fell out of the ugly tree and hit every branch all the way down, and then I got hit by the ugly tree logging truck. What are you talking about? So, as I was crossing the street. Anyways, so very interesting news. Catching up to all the Army news and all that. And a lot of you individuals,
a lot has been going on.
A lot of you individuals are in the chats already, talking about, hey, we're going to talk about this, we're going to talk about that, we're going to talk about this. Again, it's so coming back to see the last 2 weeks of the military has been some crazy. Oh, thanks, appreciate it. This was worn during the year of the NCO. All the ranks depicted. I've actually been to all these ranks. For a few minutes,
I have not.
For a few minutes, and then. It was the sergeant is the Army is what it says on the back. Yeah, it's one of those moto shirts, but yeah. So there you go. I appreciate it. I was gonna say, oh yeah. So there's so much stuff going on right now. We don't even know. I don't even know where to start. I mean, it to the point where right now a lot of the news is being handled on this. Real quick, we gave a special shout out to a judge in Kentucky. This judge in Kentucky. Pretty much gave that old. You remember that old thing where everyone says, "Go to war, go to jail."
Yeah, join the army.
Join the army.
Yeah. And there was even cadences about it.
Right,
like,
exactly.
I was a youngin'.
Yeah, exactly. But
I actually go ahead, tell the story first.
No, what I was going to say is that a judge? It's like, look. We have been fighting so hard to ensure that we get our Army a little. When we say we have the best and the brightest, right? Join the service, and you see this freaking dude get told. I mean, he was convicted of sexual assault, and
yes,
the judge says, "Hey, go join the Army or go to jail." Well, guess what, dude? You're going to jail.
Yeah, exactly.
You're going to jail, buddy. There's no way.
Or Kentucky recruiters, there's a new lead for you if you haven't made your numbers yet.
Right.
You're still not going to make them.
Kaz has a good point. It's curious to know did that judge serve? That's a spicy take there, Kaz. Did the judge serve or not?
I did not have time to use my FBI skills at the moment, but I'm going to answer that. Maybe not tonight, but I'm going to.
Well, my biggest thing is that going back to the best and the brightest thing. We've always said, we don't allow that in our military and blah, blah, blah. Everybody knows that there's specific, I even got with Recruiter Times, spoke to some friends at USEREC. Yes, I feel sorry for the, for the guys in USEREC that have to deal with this. every time. But this whole time, the U.S. Army WTF Moments and WTF Nation Radio, we've been working. We've been advocating. Again, how we need to have change for to combat sexual assault and sexual harassment. But as one of our posts said, that this differently clued judge from Kentucky just wants to dump trash in the military. We're not a dumping ground for trash. We
are not.
Go ahead.
I actually did a little research, and the way that started and became kind of more of an urban legend than actual fact is back in the 1800s with the French Foreign Legion. They didn't want their own people going to war and dying, so they took, criminals and stuff like that. Like the Night's Watch on Game of Thrones. Instead of, throwing you in jail, you have to go, serve on the Night's Watch. And that only time that's really happened in history, recorded history, was during the French Foreign Legion. Even back during the draft, it happened, and it was more of a, let's see, how do you say it? It was I know the Army recruiter. I'm a judge or a prosecutor, and I know the Army recruiter, and the Army needed all the people. And our standards were a lot lower, during the draft time than they are now during all-volunteer Army. So it wasn't you're not going to go find, a judgment, an actual sentence that said, okay, I said go to the Army or go to jail, or go to the Marines or go to jail. But yeah, that's kind of how it happened in there's Vietnam time.
Yeah, I kind of see because on the it lit up obviously all social media, and
yes,
and they had the how do I say this? Somebody saying about send them to the French Foreign Legion. And even the French Foreign Legion said, "Nah, we won't take them.
They even have standards."
Yeah, we ain't taking that ass. So again, it's the whole time that this judge, sometimes I think judges do sometimes legislate and do judiciary and do judging things. They have some good judgments and there are some bad judgments. I know there's some judgments where somebody who, somebody as a juvenile, it's hard for something to really peg on when it comes to fighting or drunken disorderly or something like that. Yeah, that's kind of. But we're talking about sexual assault. That's a totally different, because people were like, well, how come you didn't talk about this and how come you didn't talk about that? He assaulted a female inmate, of the jail, and so
right.
I'm just kind of like, bruh, I see you, Sean.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I'm he assaulted a female inmate, and for some reason, this judge, who is so far from reality, thinks that, the military is a good place for him instead of jail. I guess it's Kentucky. Is that the only way I can describe this?
It is Kentucky.
Is he that far removed from reality?
It is Kentucky. I'm getting some DMs that if anyone anywhere in someone's court document says that joining the military or going to jail, anywhere joining the military in their court document, they're permanently disqualified from joining. So, I'm getting real time. I'm getting real time intel. Getting the real time intel from this. Personally, the fact that the judge even proposed something like this after serving time, I'm just shocked.
Right, and it's not not just the Army, the whole Department of Defense is not very vocal on what they're trying to do to combat sexual assault and sexual harassment in the military. There have been hearings in Congress and going back even the last 20 years, you can everything that's happened. It's been national news. Are you that's what I'm trying to are you really that far removed from reality that you have not heard what the Department of Defense is doing?
Harley's got a good point. The judge must have been pretty old to even suggest this. Maybe even older than me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but even if he's old, have you not watched any news at all in 20 years and don't have a clue? Oh, maybe the judge was. That was another comment. Maybe the judge was screwing with him, getting his hopes up that there was a way to avoid jail.
Josh says it was his Neff's son. I got the joke now. I'm like, Neff's son? What the hell does that mean? Yeah, I got it now. I got it.
I told you. Well, like I said, those Neff sons, those personal connections, like in the late 60s, early 70s, is when this happened, and is why it's still, we had cadences and stuff about it.
Right, it's that old. Yeah, exactly. So I guess we're gonna go ahead and tell Kentucky that they're what's up with that. They need to,
Yes, what's up with that?
The AR 601-210 specifically and permanently disqualifies anybody given this thing. I appreciate you recruiters, man. How come you recruiters, man? Sometimes I love it. You guys come on here to shoot the breeze and drop the knowledge. I understand it, man. I know you guys don't have the Watcher anymore, right? You used to have that. What was it? The USER Sergeant Major, USER Sergeant Major Stoneberg. Everybody used to call the Watcher because he would watch everybody's social media stuff and posts, and then he'd send nasty grams to commands and all that. Some of the comments.
Yes, it's okay, recruiters. You're allowed to share knowledge. It's okay.
That. Exactly.
It really is.
Yeah. So to even have had that proposed, and I was wondering if he was looking at other cases, would he have proposed the same?
But that was just it. Like, where would you find precedent or case law saying that, hey, this guy was convicted of sexual assault, he can join the Army instead of going to jail? There isn't one. That's just it. You will not find that case law saying that it's okay.
It's just like the urban legends of, go get
like a stress card.
Yeah, the stress card. Yeah, go to the supply and get some Flight Line. And then go get some for a rotor wash, and then get the keys to the training area. You know what I mean? The little urban legends that we have in the military that come out of that. I talked to Stoneberg at the schoolhouse.
I mean, I've told this story before. I got in a fight when I was 19. I had to get a waiver to get in the Army for getting in a fight with another 19-year-old girl.
Are you a scrapper? Is that what you're saying? Are you a scrapper? Dang.
I was a little bit.
You throw some hands, huh?
But like I said, they barely let me in. The Air Force wouldn't let me in because of it, you know? So that's why I joined the Army. But I still had to get a waiver then.
Yeah. Man.
Oh, man.
You mean training areas have some, some training areas have some key? Yes. You ever heard the jokes, the go get a box of grid squares? Or
right,
you
yes.
Know what I mean? And
exhaust samples.
Exhaust samples, an exhaust sample or check soft spots in the armor. That's still be done today. We still get videos of that still happening. As a matter of fact, we have so many videos of that still happening that we just kind of like stop posting those videos because we're like, yeah,
right?
we got it.
It happens so often.
It happens so much. Yeah, come on, leave the private alone. We got it. But
or the LT,
the LT, there's even LT ones. LT's getting lost, or the LT's getting put in a. What was the one when I was stationed in Europe? It was a story about an LT getting taped up in a wall locker, and a wall locker being thrown out of a 2-story building in German barracks, and rumor has it that he was buried somewhere and nobody knew about it. And I'm like, whoa, really? You're Joe. You don't realize that, and then you hear that stuff, and then you're like, no way, no, there's no way a lieutenant got put in a wall locker and thrown out of somebody would know about it. You would hear about it. You'd see it in the news. So I just thought that was funny. What was that? Somebody else, me still working at Amazon. You can't spell loss without LT. You know what? I'm telling you what, this LTs are getting smarter though. They're starting to come back with some quips for sergeants. You can't spell incompetent without NCO. That was the one I heard.
I mean,
I heard a platoon sergeant. Heard a platoon, not my platoon sergeant, but I heard a platoon sergeant say something to that. You can't get lost with LTs, and the LT immediately quit back. Oh, you can't spell incompetent without NCO, and everyone's like, oh, snap, ow, bird, ooh, Lord, that's a hotness. Oh, you get some oof. Yes, man, I get that. So,
that LT must have been prior service.
LT had to have been an OCS graduate. Yeah, to throw a clap back
as
like
a
that.
Specialist.
Yeah, he went to OCS as a specialist, learned all the ways of the specialist side of the force, and decided to drop that out. But I heard that, dude, I could not stop laughing. And then the platoon sergeant was like, "Shut up," I'm like, "What are you gonna do? You can't put the LT at ease. What do you do? Tell him to at ease?" I thought that was hilarious, man.
Like, yeah, what do? You just take your licks, Sergeant. That's what you do.
Exactly. I mean, hey, there's nothing wrong. I've had I've had some good roasts as a leader myself, and I'm just like, okay, that was I capitulate on the roasting. That was a good one. I don't get butthurt.
I am not above it. Roast away.
Yeah, roast away. Some days, some days you'll get me. Some days I'll get you. No big deal. But that was just so funny when you stood up. I'm like, tell the LT to go at ease. See what happens. Because you can't take a joke. See what happens.
Oh man,
yes,
no, like I said, I have no feelings. You're not going to hurt any of them. Yeah. So go ahead, roast away. Yeah,
exactly. Roast away. Yeah, this is the DFAC mug. So it's like, is that a DFAC mug? Yes, it is. It was actually a DFAC mug that was taken from an organization that was only for senior leaders, and then the mug, the paint because dishwashing and wear and tear. It's been one of my lucky DFAC mugs that they use for when you have visitors. I'm not saying it's the Big Red Ones, Devil Brigade. I'm just saying.
Yeah, you're not saying it.
I'm not saying it, but yeah. I was gonna. Yeah, the Army didn't issue me feelings. Exactly.
They sure didn't.
No, they didn't.
They issued me a lot of shots.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so let's talk about the shots. Have you been hearing some of the? Look, every time we talk about on WTF Nation Radio, U.S. Army WT moment, and we mentioned just this.
We're not saying any of those words.
Yeah, we mentioned the coof. Everyone freaks out and says we're anti-vax. There is nothing wrong. I'll be honest with you. With busting out and going back and forth and talking about getting the coof. That's almost like having that veteran military. I mean, I was going to make a joke. It's like, can we call it the crud again? Because that was remember when you go to the field, right?
Yes.
And everyone goes to the field, and then the crud just gets passed around. Everyone gets the crud.
Or basic training. It's like everybody, like even when I went to basic, like about 10 days in, like some kind of basic training crud went through all of us. I'm assuming it's just because we all live so in close quarters and
right.
Whatever germs we had all mixed together and mutated, right. And we got a basic training sick. We were all sick for a few days.
Yeah, exactly.
Nothing serious,
right?
But yeah,
it was like you had some bronch. And the worst you ever see anybody get was a bronchitis. That's the. So when I joke around about saying, so can we call it the crud again? Because that's how we relate in the military. That you call it the crud. I mean, everyone says, "How you feeling, man? Hey, you sniffling, Ken? You right? Oh man, I got the crud." No one here can deny that they never said that. If you say that, right. Then you're full of crap. Peanut butter shot. Oh, the gamma globin. What they called it? They called it the.
I don't even know
the gamma globin, the green goblin shot. Some of the medics would joke about that because it would take like forever. They had to like warm it up, and you had to, and then blah. So. But anyways, it's the crud. I'm just joking about that. That's the only comment I'm going to make about that. So I don't want to have everybody write into the Army Times or write into all the other media groups saying, "Oh, WTF Nation Radio is talking about the crud," when it's really talking about the coof of excellence. So,
right, yeah. So
I saw the
like me, I'm like I just think crud is going around. Not just the one in the news, and every time anybody sniffles near me, I know it's cedar season here. But I'm like, I want to spray you with Lysol. Like, I do not have time to get sick.
Yeah, somebody said had a guy diagnosed with syphilis in basic. Damn, dude. Bro.
Like, they don't test for STDs at MEPS?
That's a good question.
I don't remember. I know.
I'm trying to think.
I know I got a pregnancy test. I don't know if they tested me for STDs.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Dude, did I? I don't think I did.
I got tested when I went to Korea. They tested everybody in processing.
Okay, now, no one could really answer this, and I think we talked about this before, but this is for some of the newer audiences. Is there? Now, just you can correct me if I'm wrong here. Is there? And are you Korea vets and all this other stuff? I'm probably going to have General Donahoe or General Abrams call in to kind of laugh about this too. Is there an island where someone has like some bad syphilis or some bad STD that there's an island that people go to and then they can't leave and they can't come back to CONUS? Is that true? Speaking of urban legends, is that like legit? Oh,
I know I've heard that legend.
You've heard that legend too? All these Korean vets were like, I had a platoon sergeant who just got back from Korea and he was like, you better not go to Korea. If you got to be, you're on the Ville, you're hanging out, and you go to Itaewon, and you get that special syphilis, and you're like, what special syphilis? What? There's a special syphilis? Oh yeah, it's a special syphilis. And if you get the special syphilis, here's me, dumb Private Ice. Like, really? You get? I'm like Private Murphy. Really, that happens? And I heard that, and I'm like, everyone's like, it's an urban legend. No, no. Yeah, exactly. Caused the Black VD story.
The Black Island.
Yeah.
I remember hearing this, because I spent a lot of time in Korea.
Right.
I did.
Hang on, we got a call. We got a call. See what happens. Let's see.
Oh, we got a call.
We got a call. We got a call. Hang on. WTF Nation Radio, you're on the air.
Well, hi. Yeah. Hey, that's Black Sif Island.
Okay, is it true? Is it legit? Is it really?
Well, all I can tell you is it's a legitimate story. I was in Korea. I heard all about it.
Okay, so
But, I never went there, never caught anything. So I don't know about that.
but
Only thing I can find. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
no, I was about to say. So did you hear? Have you heard of anybody who's ever got it? Like somebody?
No, not specifically, not me, myself. Of course, that was a while ago. I joined in 6 July 1972.
Oh wow!
And so it's been a while. I'm sure there's people with more current information than me.
No, I hear you. I'm just okay. So,
Hey, I got a question for you.
Sure.
If I can ask something,
Sure.
appeal to my brothers and sisters in
of
the
course,
service.
of course, go for it.
See if I can get some clarity.
Go for it.
Chain of command means something to me. I didn't always follow it. But I was just kind of wondering, do we have like a president over there and then a commander-in-chief over here? I mean,
you're talking about how
most of the military saluting
so
these
you're
days.
so you're talking about the command. Yeah, a long time ago they used to call commanders overseas sinks. They used to call them commander in chiefs for their respect. Because I know U.S. Army Europe had a sink, Korea had a sink, and now they no longer have it like that. They're no longer calling them sinks anymore like they used to. So they still have the normal reporting chain of command that they would have, but they don't have the, you know what I mean? They don't have the standard. They don't have the old name, the old way of saying sinks like they used to. So a lot of the individual. Go ahead.
I know what you're talking about there, but what I was talking about, I don't want to get too far off into the weeds, but I was wondering if the President of the United States, who's like in the White House, is he a different guy than the Commander-in-Chief, whose name might begin with a T?
Oh my God! Are you bringing that stuff here for real?
I'm
man?
wondering. I'm asking, man. I'm
No,
asking.
that's not how it works. No, that's not how it works, man. That's not. Trust me.
All right.
So that's not how it works.
Well, yeah. Hey, ancient Sparta had something like that. They had a peace chief and a war chief.
No.
But
This ain't Sparta.
With all the disinformation.
Well, I'm glad you came
just wanted
here.
to know.
Yeah, I'm glad you came here to get the gist, man. Yeah. Now there's no such thing as there is no such thing as two presidents in the military right now. We have.
Well, I hope not.
Well, yeah. So that question's kind of like, nah, nope. But appreciate you calling.
Okay. Thank you, and have a good one.
No, you too. Have a good one.
Bye.
Bye.
Woo.
The only
Man.
thing I could find about, soldiers in Korea that get an ST called black syphilis, are they allowed back into the States? This is from a retired Air Force senior NCO that when he was stationed in the 80s, he said he knew of two young airmen that contracted black syphilis, and they were transferred to an island off the coast of Korea near Jeju. And it was ironically called Black Island. And they said that this wasn't just from soldiers in Korea. This was anybody in the Pacific. But again, this is just, this I'll just call him David, as a retired Air Force and senior NCO. But I can't find anything, let's say, verifiable.
Yeah.
Put it
No.
that way.
It's
So I know.
like I said. I heard that was one of the things.
rumor.
I think. Yeah. I know. I think what it was is that they wanted to keep down They wanted to keep those types of diseases down. They wanted to it's almost like personal health field stand stuff. You know what I mean? Kind of preventive medicine stuff.
Even when I went, like I said, the last time I went and in process was in 2009, and everybody got tested for STDs at reception, and you were held in reception if you were positive and treated, because if you're in Korea, you've already gotten a recent HIV test before you get there, and you have to have a recent negative HIV test to go overseas anywhere. But so they would test you for all the other STDs. And like I said, if you had one, they held you in reception and treated you and gave you an order not to spread that STD. So basically, don't have sex with anybody type of order until, it's all cleared up. So,
I understand.
And that was
I understand that individuals have gone through something like that, and I don't want to laugh at that situation, but I just think that when you look at some of the stuff that we used to do back for preventive medicine, preventive health, I just kind of laugh at the, dude, how did you, again, it's unfortunate. I'm not saying because now STIs now are becoming more common. I guess there's a stigma removed from it. And it's just like,
and probably because they're all so curable.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, you know what? Yeah, that's another thing too. Pip's got a good point too. That's the ultimate psyop. That's right. Create a disease so Joe don't get an STD. Exactly. Could you? Somebody. Ken said it's like the freaking. It's like the. It's like the. What's that? What's that game? What's the TV show? That Korean TV show? I got to go back up to where Ken said. It's like the squid. It's like the island in the Squid Games.
Oh yeah, Squid Games. That's a show. I couldn't think of the name.
Yeah, I couldn't think of the exactly. Wayne says the worst part about being a medic is treating that stuff. Oh wow! Hey, what's up, Rob? How you doing? We got Rob from the H Train show, guys.
Hello, Rob.
He's him. I wonder if Joel's gonna come on and or be in the chat. So how you doing, man? It's good to see you in the chat. It's good to see you up there. We shared the H Train show yesterday, and it's great discussions. I can't wait to hang out and see what we got stored in the future. It's gonna be awesome. But no, you're right, Pip. It's a good psyop. Think about this: if you create something like that, or you create a story, that's like a good legend. The legend of Squid Game. We'll just call it Squid Game Island. How about that? How about let's just create new, since we like to create new words here on Sergeant's Time, and the creation of doctrine that usually happens here with sergeanting. So I'm just kind of curious who would what's up, Curtis?
Hey, Thornton. Sorry. Oh man, I just had to say, do you see who our guest is in the second hour?
Yeah, exactly. Oh, man. Yeah, and speaking of which, I can't wait. Command Sergeant retired Tara Brown's going to be coming on to talk about her book, Taking Back My Name, and it's going to be some real talk. It's going to be some real talk. There's going to be some subjects that we're all going to bring up that all of us can relate to, dealing with things, and that's.
Yeah,
I can't wait.
Yes.
I don't want to. I don't want to burst. I don't want to burst bubbles and be spoil some stuff here. But I can't wait to have her on so she can shoot the breeze and give it give it what
no
it is.
Spoilers.
No spoilers. No spoilers. Yeah. No spoilers. Anything like that. But
yeah.
What was I going to say? Hang on. My messages are blowing up, dude. That was a weird call, wasn't it?
Right? It's been a while since one of y'all called in.
It's been a while since we had calls like that where, you notice he was real reluctant to say what the.
Yes, and that's fine. We'll just leave that.
We'll just leave that
for Mondays.
We'll just leave that for It's already 2:45 in Italy. Wow. Well, buongiorno.
Yeah. Oh yes. If you do, our shows are always available on podcast after the fact, wherever you get your podcasts from. I get mine from the little app that came on my phone. So, I'm sure everybody has their own way of getting them now. But yes, if you ever miss any of our shows, not just Sergeant's Time, but any of the shows here on WTF Nation Radio, they are available after the fact. We record them.
Curtis is like, he wants it
live.
I don't. Thornton wants it live. I want it live now. We do it live now.
Get it. I get it. Then stay awake. Bangs or 5-hour energies or whatever it is, though.
Stay awake, babe. Oh, man.
Thank you.
Drink your coffee through your DFAC mug. You know, there you go. That you did not take from the 1st Infantry Division, Devil Brigade. I'm just saying.
Oh, man. So what else has been going on in the world? I mean,
so
like we haven't been here in weeks.
Yeah, we haven't been.
So much happened. I don't even know what to talk about.
Catching up on sergeanting is what we got to do.
Right.
There's a.
We should have had a meeting.
Yeah, we should have had a discussion about this stuff. But
Before the meeting.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I don't know. Let's see. We have had a lot of. Oh man, there's some stories here that we can go through. Most of the stuff we're talking about is right now. I will say that the drama we have going on right now is with that Operation Lone Star stuff.
Yes.
And how a lot of it is just some mismanagement, to where the Texas Guard is not even authorizing individuals to get out of the mission. It's like it's one of those. If you thought that was, I mean, in a way, when you think about it, it's almost like Infinity War for Texas.
Right.
Constant deployment.
We're always going to have a border.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Wayne Ronnie's like, why do I have to poop when I watch these? It must be the voice. It must be the voice. The voice of you're listening to the voice, just soothing, makes you relax. Maybe that's what it is. I don't know. But yeah, that Operation Lone Star stuff, dude. That's nuts. Guys are out there a few times, way more than anybody else. Some of the benefits are some of the orders that they're on, and I'm just catching up to all the stuff myself. And some of the orders that they're on are making it just to where just down to the wire of getting their benefits. It's nuts.
Right. I mean, there's just so much going on there. I was not happy about Governor Abbott's tweets about, hey, it's only so many people that aren't getting paid right and this, that, or whatever. I'm like, one is too many. One is too many.
Yeah, they're talking about. You're talking about the effects of it. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, I'll be honest with you. If you have enough people that are going through that, and you have. I mean, think about it. We're not talking about, and everyone's like, here's what makes me mad about some of the comments from the active duty crowd. Hey, I got it, man. It's how come they just do this? Is what they signed up for? Maybe they should just do it, or they knew what was going to happen. Yeah, but they also didn't expect to have their, you're going to go do this rotation, and then this is going to happen, and then we're not going to have your orders out to where you're going to collect some benefits or get benefits. So what's going to happen when these individuals are like injured on the job? And then from what we've been seeing in the inbox, it's like some of these guys are out in remote areas and everything. They're just out there. They're just out there. They're just poised to stand out there, and they're just chilling. They're not doing anything. They're playing spades, or you know what I mean. They're playing Xbox, video games, or on the phone or something like that. They're not.
Yes, I used to. It's 2022. They're playing on their phones now. They're not playing spades.
I know. I'm sorry. I'm just sorry for. I got to catch up on I got to move away from my boomerness because my dad stuff. We were a little late because we had. I was talking to Princess Ice, and sorry, family comes first, and so when your little one calls and wants to talk to you for a second, then you shoot the breeze. And then also we had some Skype drama going on.
Yes, I don't even know what was going on with all that, but we made it. We fixed everything. We're here. We got all the wheels turning in the squirrels. Yes, it's all good. We're here. So,
did anyone over the holidays? Anybody check out some of the stories from the evacuations of the Afghan interpreters and stuff like that? Have you been tracking all that stuff? Because we're gonna have Scott Mann. He's gonna join us. Task Force Pineapple. He's gonna be joining us later on. We're just coordinating our schedules because that dude's busy, and he's been involved with evacuating some of the Afghan interpreters, and there are some stranded Americans as well. As long as with Nick Parmigiano, we need to get Nick Parmigiano here to shoot the breeze about it.
All right, we'll work that.
Yeah, because he's
and I know Scott's busy because he's been on before, and it's hard to set up.
No, it is. I mean, these guys are busy and they're in demand. You know what I mean? So.
Right, and all of our shows, they're all at certain times, so it's like it's either this time or another week. We can't. But hopefully, yes. I know I saw, like I said, when we've been off for a couple weeks, like my brain cannot remember all of the news I read over.
Oh, I know. Same here.
I even took like a week off, like not even.
everyone's like, hey, I didn't see you on social media. I don't see you on Twitter. I didn't see you much tweeting and stuff like that. And that's because I do some stuff, and then later on during the day, I'll look at something. I'm like, maybe I'll tweet about it, or maybe I'll post about it. And then, or what I'll do is there's something that I want to schedule or something like that. I'll just put a lot of it. So a lot of individuals think that I'm up and like, or I never sleep. And then you're looking at old, Arming. All right. Talk to you later, bro. You like it.
Right. Well, that's like I said, I thought you never slept because it's like, why I wake up and, you tweeted like 17 things.
Yeah, exactly. Well,
I have been asleep for 8 hours.
So some of it is like I'll see something and it's a topic and I'll start researching it and then I'll add to I'm adding to the tweet as it's tweeting, and you have to excuse my, because English is a second language for me. It's just kind of like, yeah. So I'll tweet it out and then I'll schedule it and then I'll post it and then I'm like, okay, the next thing, because then what I don't want to do is I want to be able to track it. Yeah, I gotta love the auto. Yeah, dude, Shipwreck did the same thing. I was on a division staff and I taught all the battle captains how to do a delayed email, so that way their bosses, their raiders thought that they were working late. So that way it made it look like they were working late when their bosses said, "Hey, you need to work." I'm like, "You guys know you could delay that stuff, right?"
Right. The one other big story that I did want to talk about before we go on a break?
Sure.
The Biggest Loser competition one.
Oh.
I am not going to name the first sergeant. I'm not. I'm not even going to name the unit. You guys can, Google that yourself. But he was launching, or attempted to launch, a weight loss competition that was inspired by the television show The Biggest Loser. Now, with that being said, before I even get into it, the Biggest Loser on TV, those people lose weight at a very unhealthy rate.
Right,
they lose weight way too fast. And I know if you go back and see, like, after words and stuff, like, so many of them will gain some back. And so this first sergeant decided that he was going to, split the entire company into 15 teams with names like Oreo Killers and Honey Bun Stunners, and competing to drop the most pounds by the end of February. The winners would have received 2 4-day weekends after their return to Alaska. Okay, so in the issue, it wasn't with the idea of having a fitness competition. It was his insistence that all soldiers participate regardless of what they weighed. All right? And any teams that gain weight would be assigned 2 hours extra duty for each pound gained. All right. So like I said, if this probably would have been a non-issue if it was, okay, look, this is voluntary. You got some soldiers that want to lose weight. Every company has soldiers in it that wants to lose weight, and you have soldiers that need to lose weight. But you also have soldiers that are just fine with their weight. You have soldiers that are underweight. You have soldiers that are gaining weight because, hey, you're starting to do all these deadlifts and leg tucks, and that's building muscle, and you might gain a few pounds. So, now you're going to punish them. Oh, my God. So he was told, like, one of this first sergeant's NCOs was like, hey, first sergeant, the soldiers do not see weight loss as a goal of theirs at this time. And many of the soldiers are focused on their own fitness goals and are already within 600-9 standards. And then the first sergeant said, I am not interested in what the soldiers want to do. It's not about weight or their fitness goals. This is a company thing and a morale and team building thing. So anyway, like I said, if it would have been voluntary, soldiers that want to join and lose weight, compete for this 4-day pass, or, hey, make it, kind of both, lose weight or increase your, ACFT score. There's something, because like I said, you have soldiers that are trying to gain weight. It's not just everybody needing to lose weight. And then the spokesperson for U.S. Army Europe and Africa said the issue is being addressed by the unit's chain of command. While we support creative ways to help our soldiers maintain physical readiness, we expect those activities to be morale boosting, meet Army standards, and align with healthy dietary and fitness habits. The command's concern stems from the widely understood issues with eating disorders and unhealthy weight loss within the force, which Task and Purpose did an investigation on that last year.
Correct. And they actually did a pretty good write-up about it. That was a really good write-up that they did.
Yeah.
So if you right now I have the WTF Nation Twitter feed. So if you go to @the WTF Nation on Twitter, you can see some of these tweets are like real time. So some of the stuff that you don't see other than posts, because you guys got to remember, some of the posts that we see that you see on the Facebook page are usually about a day or so ahead of when they receive it. So it'll come in, but sometimes some hot news or some breaking news or something will get tweeted out, and that's where you see right there is the team names too. Is like the Oreo Killers, the Big Mac Attackers.
That's making me hungry.
Yeah, no, the Krispy Kreme Demons, the Honey Bun Stunners, Team Low Fat, Team Sweet and Low, Defact Rats. That's the name I want. Defact Rats. And then kebab till you drop. No, these are. I mean, okay, look, this is a serious issue talking about. I mean, you're right about when it comes to eating disorders and all that.
Right.
But this is freaking. This is some of the names. I'm like, dude, Slim Fast, the pizzerias, Nonstop Red Box, Tone It with Jablona. To the Max and Morris, KFC Delights, and United Chickens.
That really just made me hungry.
It
I haven't
did,
had
man.
a Big Mac in like months.
I mean, not to have any Monday edition stuff, but I mean, have you heard about KFC going with a full meatless chicken? So now they're gonna have chicken that's not with no plant-based chicken. You know, plant-based chicken is like having a helicopter with no rotor blades, a tank with no treads.
And because I said, it was a good idea. I mean, that went wrong. Motivating, soldiers that need to lose weight is one thing. Saying that if you gain a pound, the whole squad has to, or team has to do 2 hours extra work. When you have soldiers that need to gain weight, not even just trying to or want to, but some that actually do need to. I mean, we do have underweight soldiers too. It happens, especially hey.
You bring up a good point. Think about individuals that are above average of physical fitness. You know what I mean? They have their they really have there's some bodybuilders out there. And you imagine if you're being told that your diet's going to get smashed by a first sergeant.
Right.
And that's the thing too.
You got to, or else you're going to have to work.
You're actually going to have to work. And I'm just thinking, do you?
And even that note at the bottom with it, teams that remain stagnated at the same weight from the last weigh-in will be penalized the same as any that gain weight.
Could you imagine being a bodybuilder having your whole diet regimen fucking messed up because of this? I mean, you'd be like, oh, really? I mean, come on.
Right.
But anywhu. Yeah, it's almost So
I'm getting mad.
We're about ready to talk. We're going to talk about that afterwards, Shrimply. We were going to talk about the Alaska, as a matter of fact, on that situation. So we are not ignoring it, but I know you're directing it to. But anywho, all right. Well, I guess we're going to take a break.
Yes, we need to take a break.
We need to take a break so we can get the guests on, and we'll be right back. So we're gonna go ahead and take a break right quick, and then we will have our guest join us. I can't wait. It's gonna be some real talk.
Yeah.
It's gonna be some real talk.
All right.
We haven't had some real talk.
So y'all stick around.
So y'all stick around. So we'll be right back. So shots. Refill your glasses. Refill your coffee. Put on your ears. Be ready to listen. So we'll be right back. Shots.
WTF Nation Radio. WTF Nation Radio.
Take it from me, Ice. You can't just float around space not caring about stuff forever.
The voice of U.S. Army. WTF Moments. This is WTF Nation Radio.
Shit in the bag, Pogue.
Nothing feels the same. Let it all be sirens are going off. Another rocket attack. I've got my boots and got my ammo in my 50-pound sack. 100 boys headed to war in this world unknown. The only peace of mind I've got are these letters from home. Another day has come and gone. Another night I'm all alone. I didn't think I'd be this far out here in Kandahar. We made it home, but we never came back. When we close our eyes at night, we hear a rocket attack. I've tried to talk and tell you about it, but it ain't the same. All these thoughts that run through my head, well, they can't be tamed. Another day has come and gone. Another night I'm all alone. I didn't think I'd be this far out here in Kandahar. Another day has come and gone. Another night I'm all alone. I didn't think I'd be this far out here. We ain't far from Kandahar.
I am here determined to stop this future atrocity.
This station is now the ultimate power in the universe. I suggest we use it.
The voice of U.S. Army, WTF Moments. This is WTF Nation Radio.
I find your lack of faith disturbing.
Everything stated on WTF Nation Radio is to be considered the opinion of the person that stated it, and not an official representation of WTF Nation Radio or U.S. Army WTF Moments.
Price does not include tax, title, or license. Some assembly required. Each item sold separately. Batteries not included. Objects in mirror are closer than they appear. If conditions persist, contact a physician. Individual results may vary. Keep out of the reach of children. Avoid prolonged exposure to direct sunlight. Keep in a cool, dark place. And
please enjoy the show. Shots.
Command Sergeant retired Tara Bryan. How you doing today, Tara?
I'm great. How are you?
So,
doing wonderful.
I waited. I always wanted to be called Ken once I retired. I didn't want to be called by my rank. So do you prefer Tara? I mean, is that? I know some CSMs will get little. Hey, you better call me by my by my retired name.
Oh, you can call me by my government name. Tara is fine. Tara is fine.
Hey, so real quick. Hey, first off, thank you for hanging out. I was kind of telling the audience and telling some friends that this is going to be some real talk and some really, really good issues that a lot of individuals don't realize that's going on in the military. But can you tell us real quick a little bit about yourself?
So I am retired Command Sergeant Major. I retired from the Army with 31 years. I've been in South Carolina from the time that I retired to now. So I live in South Carolina now. I am an ordained minister as well. So I do a lot of church stuff, and I am a member of Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated. So, just a little bit, but, just the military part of it. I was in the Signal Corps. So communications was my life for 31 years.
That's what I'm talking about. What were you, SATCOM? What were you, tactical? What was your field in the signal world?
Tactical. So most of it, just running wires, that kind of stuff, radios. Yes.
That's some of the old school stuff right there. I mean,
so I'm old, right? So
we were sitting shooting the breeze. Tara was telling me that she was a little bit earlier in her class for the Sergeant Major's Academy than I was. So I was kind of like, whoa. So yeah, she's way before me. So can you give us some of your experiences of what units you were assigned to?
So I've been stationed. So my last duty station was Fort Riley, Kansas. I was in the headquarters at Fort Riley, 1ID. I'm sorry. I was in Kuwait in 160th Signal Brigade. I was in 54th Signal Battalion, also in Kuwait. Fort Huachuca, Fort Lee, Fort Jackson as a drill sergeant. I've been to Korea. I've been to Germany. I've been to Italy. So I've been all over the world, kind of like Fort Huachuca. Yeah, all over.
I was about to say that's some well-seasoned stuff. So, in your experiences, did you feel? Well, I mean, if you want, we could just jump in the book because I don't want to beat around the bush, but I got to talk about the book.
Right.
And this is why you came on. Can you tell us a little bit about the book and what was some of the inspiration for it?
So I've actually went through a divorce in 2018, and when going through that divorce, like the stuff that I was going through, I was having a hard time with it. So for me, being a leader, because I was the brigade command sergeant major in Kuwait, so for me it was really hard because like who could you talk to like when stuff was going on, and you still had to put on that face like like I'm in charge, I'm doing what I need to do, but behind the scenes like I was hurting, I was like just breaking down. So just me, the book was a way of me healing and, just coming through like a full circle of me getting back to who I am as a person, who I am as the person I was before I went through all that stuff during my marriage. Yes.
I'm speaking, I'm from personal experience, recent experience. I could relate. You're always, as a leader, you're always that ear for everybody else, but you always wonder who as a leader, who you turn to.
Yeah.
So who, if you don't mind talking about it, who did you turn to while you were going through all this?
So it's crazy because I always say that God always surrounds you with people that you need at the time that you need those people. And that's exactly what happened with me. So I had my S3 sergeant major. She was there for me. I had some senior NCOs that would sit there and listen to me. So I had folks that were around me. Even my commander, my brigade commander, he was there. When I tell you, he was so awesome during that time. He knew everything that I was going through. He knew like from like the time that everything started to like when I was done, when my divorce was finally finished, he was there for me. And I tell you, that was a true battle buddy for me. He was my battle buddy. So, and then I had some spiritual leaders that I could call and talk to, and friends that I could call and talk to. So I had a great network of folks that I could talk to, but there are some people out there that don't have those people like that. So that's what should worry us as leaders that in the military, that there are some people out there that don't have folks that they believe that they can talk to.
Yeah, that's a good point. Some of the controversy right now is that some individuals who are not, I guess you could say it would not be spiritual enough, that there needs to be a little bit more of that counseling aside from a chaplain. I was speaking to a chaplain about that too, and he actually said that he would love to have had some like another counselor to help him out, because there's some things that some people would go through that hard to say to a chaplain, but easy to say to a counselor, if that makes any sense.
Absolutely. And I think that's what helped me as well. So again, I was in Kuwait, and it was really hard for me, like as a leader, it was hard for me to say that I need to go talk to somebody at behavioral health itself, like going to behavioral health, because in theater, if you've been in theater, if you say like you have suicidal thoughts, and those were my thoughts, I was having suicidal thoughts. And so I'm like, and they were getting stronger and stronger. And I was like, oh my God, I need to talk to somebody. And so for me to go to behavioral health and tell them I'm having suicidal thoughts, but the first thing in my mind was like, they're going to tell me that I need to leave theater. So that was a fear in my mind, because I didn't want to leave theater because I had a job to do. The Army put me in there for a job, and I wanted to do my job, but I didn't want to appear weak as well. And that's a lot of things that go with leaders as well. Like they feel like they appear weak if they go to seek help and they go to try to get help. So me calling Military One Source, I would tell you, saved my life. And even though I was talking to spiritual leaders, Military One Source saved my life. They connected me to a therapist, actually, that was in San Diego. I'm in Kuwait, calling the therapist in San Diego. And our first call, I was on a battlefield circulation in Iraq. I'm calling her from the Iraq terminal, talking to this therapist, helping me get through this time of my life,
right.
A hard time of my life. And so it was like incredible what they did for me.
This is something that probably nobody has really brought up openly, but it's hard for a military woman to say that, to say, I'm having a suicidal ideation, and you're a CSL, you're a lead, you're already a C, you're already a senior enlisted advisor. And that to me, it's frustrating that there's a stigma out there for you to even even to ask, you know what I mean?
And absolutely, because the first thing in my mind was like, okay, I'm the first female sergeant major in this position, and I don't want to go out like
right,
not going, having to go out there and like try to seek help, and people are wondering what's going on with me. And it's crazy because when I first got to the unit, the same thing happened to me physically, because I had plantar fasciitis in both of my feet, and they were like terrible. And I'm still running on my feet in pain, trying to run on my feet, and nobody knew I had it. And I'm just like, I got to do this because I'm here now. I got to do this. And it's so hard, like you said, for females, especially in the higher like leadership, and females period, especially the ones as well that's in the infantry unit. Now we have to prove, it's like we feel like we have to prove something,
right. And then I didn't, because I served with awesome women leaders, and I always noticed that there was always seemed to have been an accommodation for a male to say, hey, I'm not doing this. Well, you need to take a knee, but they were literally saying you need to come out of theater, which you can already see that right there is something, that's not right. You know what I mean?
Well, that's what they were doing. So most of the soldiers, if any of our soldiers in theater, if they were having any kind of suicidal ideation, they would tell them they would have to leave theater. And so that was my whole train of thought, like, I don't want to leave theater. I just need some help. Right. And so that I just needed help. I just needed somebody that I could talk to. So that was like my main thing. Like, I wanted to talk to somebody. Yes.
Yeah. Taking Back My Name. How did you come up with that? What was the thought for that title?
actually sitting in my office. I was getting ready to PCS from Kuwait, and I was sitting in the office with my S3 Sergeant Major and two of my other NCOs, and we were talking. And like I said, I could talk to some folks about what I was going through because a lot of the people closer to me, like within the command, kind of knew what was going on with me. And so I just said, out of the blue, I was like, I'm gonna write a book, and I'm gonna name it "Taking Back My Name." That's what's gonna be the name of it. And that was just it. And I was like, and then it just went away, like, cause that was 2018. I was like, Nah, Terry, you can't write a book. But then, like, I just kept, like, just being pressed, just felt like, yeah, I can write a book. And so I felt like if I wrote the book, it would help me, like, finish the process of healing, and I'll be done with it and finished with it. And it actually worked, because I'm telling you, I'm like 100%, like, I love my life and I love where I am in my life.
It's awesome because, a lot of the again, I'm women leaders, women soldiers. For a guy to go through a divorce in the military, you go through the divorce and then that's it. But a woman in the military has to change her social security number, change her status, change her. I mean, it just seems like there's a lot more administrative drama just for you to go back to yourself. So, can you tell us a little bit some of the frustrations that you were dealing with that?
So again, yes, we have to change our name, and we have to change Social Security, the name on the Social Security, then change it in the Army. So doing all of that, so having to change that. And then for me, like when I said taking back my name, it was me, like, getting my identity back, because it felt like I was trying to accommodate him and do the stuff for him, because all the years before, like, I've been single for most of my military career. So everybody, like in my book, I said everybody knew me as Bryan. Nobody knew me as my married name. So for me to change my name, because I'm getting married to this man, and so now I'm going to change my name. So, and then he started doing all this stuff, and now he wants a divorce. It kind of like weighed down on me, because I'm like, I did all this stuff, and I changed myself and changed my name, and now people really don't know me in the military because they knew me as Bryan. Right. They didn't know me as my married name, and I changed it to, like, just to say, I'm in this with you. This is our marriage, and then for you, like, to walk away, that was like just like the worst feeling in the world.
Yeah, divorce is one of those topics that are really hard to discuss. I mean, everybody knows I do talk about my experiences with divorce, recent events and stuff like that. It's really hard. It's that relationship dynamic that nobody understands what a woman soldier goes through. I mean, you're already leading. You're already, you know what I mean? It's almost like you're already on. You should be here to be on. In other words, in your position, you should be on. You're on top. I mean, you should be on top of the world, and you should be having that support. Do you describe a little bit of that in the book?
The support from.
The support that you did not get, I should say. I might forgive me.
So as far as, no, I didn't. So
okay,
I didn't, because, when I first got there, I felt like people were against me because I was a female, and it felt like that. And maybe it wasn't so, but perception. Right. Is reality to a lot of people. So for me, my perception was, people were against me, and I came into this place because I'm a female, that they're not accepting me, and I guess I have to prove myself to them in order for them to think. So the support that I had initially, I had some folks behind me, but not a lot. But as time grew on in the unit, like, folks were supporting me more and more and more, and I saw it, and they showed it towards me. So it got better as I went along. And so when everything started happening with my marriage and in my divorce, I had people surrounding me that, like, were there supporting me.
That's awesome. When you got that support structure, it probably helped a lot.
Yes, absolutely.
Now now you were. Was this happening while you were going through the academy, and you were already selected, and you were already CSL select?
I was already CSL select. I was already a sergeant major when I got married. So I got married, and my marriage didn't last long. I got married in 2015, and divorced in January of 18. Yes.
Yeah. I hear you. Now the whole the whole, is there anything that the Army, I shouldn't say that because we're not here to bash the service, but is there anything the Army could have done better on that? I mean, we're talking like, here's 2E9s talking like we're going to do an AAR, but is there something that the Army could have done to assist a little bit better? I mean,
so when I say that, because I didn't really go to the Army for help. I went to Military One Source. I really didn't go to the Army, and the only reason why I didn't go to the Army for the assistance is because I kind of knew the background of what they would have said, being the leader in that theater, knowing what would have been said and what I would have had to have done, which is leave theater if I was having suicidal thoughts.
Right.
So that was my reasoning for calling Military One Source. So really didn't go through the Army, but once I got back to the States, I did seek counseling and they did help me out as well. So I cannot bash the Army for how they helped me get through that, because they helped me.
Right.
They really did.
Right. Yeah. I mean, that was a question because I don't know if you've been watching some of the news about what's been recently with what's been happening with soldier suicide. So I was just wondering if there was something that and obviously the Army could always do something better. The Army's not perfect in it when it comes to that aspect. They're trying.
And I've always said, like, the Army always told us to ask somebody, are you having suicidal thoughts? And in my mind, I thought about that, because I was like, when I was having suicidal thoughts, if somebody in the military would have asked me that, I would have said no. So that's not a question you could probably ask somebody that's having suicidal thoughts, because really they're probably not going to tell you the truth. Right.
No, like you were saying, there's a stigma, right? I mean, would you consider it a stigma?
Absolutely. And you have to know you will have to know your soldiers and know your leaders around you to know if they're changing and if they're going through stuff. Because I would be every night, I would be home crying my eyes out up until 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, getting like an hour of sleep and then trying to get into work. It was making it seem like nothing was wrong with me. Yeah. And this was like for months that I was doing that. And that was like the hard part for me. Like, I'm trying to still be the soldier, be the leader, do the stuff that I need to do when I knew all this personal stuff was happening in my life.
Right. I'll be honest with you. Having the support network that you have, is that going to be covered? Is that covered in the book too? Because we dropped a link, by the way, to your book, your Amazon. So that way, people can buy. I'm gonna buy it, so that way we can all take a read. But do you describe your ops army? Do you have any notables in there that you put in the book?
So I didn't put names in there because I would have to got permission from them. Mm-hmm. But I do mention that I had friends that I could talk to and spiritual leaders that I could talk to during that time. Yes. Now
the spiritual leader part. When did the I guess the epiphany, I guess you would say, of being an ordained minister? Is that, I'm reading that right?
Yes.
How did that come about? What was the light bulb?
So to become an ordained minister?
Well, were you already an ordained minister at the time while you were going through this, or is this something that resulted in it?
I was already an ordained minister.
Oh, wow.
Yes, I was. So I was married to a pastor. Whoa, okay.
Whoa, okay.
So the stuff that I went through is kind of it was unusual, and it was a lot of stuff, and it was just hard for me to comprehend. I'm going through this, and my husband is a pastor. Why am I going through this? But it made me realize that anybody could go through it. Anybody could have to deal with that in any situation, whoever they are. Anybody could deal with it. So yeah, when I tell you that my faith really helped me a lot as well to get through that period of my life, it really did. My faith did.
When you said he was a pastor too, everyone, I mean, you laughed at the same time I reacted, because it was like you don't even hear about you never hear about pastors going through stuff like that. You know what I mean? You never. Right. I've never heard of it. So. That's interesting. That is wow. How did that affect the ministry for you in that aspect? I mean, did Do you do sermons? Are you on the pulpit? Are you preaching it, or did it affect you there? Almost like being I guess you sound almost like a CSM, right? I mean, you're up there in front of troops. You were out there in front of the church, right?
So I had times where I wasn't the pastor of the service that we had in Kuwait, but I was one of the ministers on the ministerial staff. And so there were opportunities that I would go up and preach, or I would minister to, the soldiers in the chapel service that we had. So it was hard for me because I knew I was going through all this stuff. And I'm like, how can I like give somebody a word if I'm down? How do I make it? And not even in the chapel, like also at work, like, how am I to talk and make soldiers feel good about what's going on? And they like when stuff is like in turmoil with mine.
No, exactly. Yeah. He's like, my life is sucking and I got to be up here preaching it. It's
right.
I can imagine how tough it's been.
That was hard. That was hard for me. Yes.
Yeah. It's a lot of it is in Spanky's in the comments already saying we're so trained. We're trained to push through it. It's okay to ask for help. And I just wish that the military really didn't have that stigma on there to where, like, for instance, I know what policy you're talking about, that if you seek any behavioral health in the CENTCOM AOR, you are not allowed, you're removed from theater. And then I think it's like a year. It used to be like a year that you couldn't come back, or you couldn't go back to the theater or something like that. Is that the policy you're talking about?
So I'm not sure like the time frame from that you would have to stay out of theater.
Right.
But if you claim that you were having suicidal thoughts or ideations, then they would talk to you, and most of the time they will try to get you out of theater quickly, like within days out of theater. So yes.
Yeah, I couldn't even imagine. I mean, seeing the ministry, and I do talk to chaplains too, and I see them so. And I see them happy, and you see people living through the Lord like that, and you're like, man, they're happy. Possibly nothing could be going wrong. It really gets to the I don't know. To me, it feels like you're more, as a minister, talking to you right now, that I would rather have a minister tell me that, hey, I know what you're going through, Ken. You know what I mean? I know what you're going through, and it helps out. Have you now through the book? Is there anybody else that you like, some of the therapists and stuff? Were you allowed to drop your therapist people in there in the book too?
I did not drop the names of them either, because again, I would have had to ask for permission and all that stuff. But it was I do have one of my old pastors. He's out from Fort Huachuca. I've mentioned him in the book as well, but I don't say his name. And he had a sermon that he talked about, having to go back to your place of affliction, just so that you could heal. And so I came back to the house that I lived in with my husband. So I'm actually living in that house right now. And I'm telling you, I'm in such a good place here that I'm just blessed. And I just thank God, just for the opportunity that he gives me every day.
Oh,
yes,
that's awesome. So so after this, you're gonna do like you're gonna branch off to do another book for marriage counseling or
I'm gonna do a follow-up book, and it's gonna just focus on how I continue to heal after all the stuff that happened to me. So what I did in order to get to the place where I am now, because it's all about taking care of yourself. And if you take care of yourself, and you know that everybody say self-love. Oh yeah. Love, but you want other folks to love you too.
Yeah, oh yeah, you got it. But sometimes that self-care and treat yourself sometimes will. I'll admit it. There's sometimes where I just gotta, you have to love yourself, because if you don't, then it puts you. It's almost like there's nothing wrong with you. Let's put it that way. That's how you should see it. There's nothing wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with anything that any drama that people try to throw your way, or any comments or negativity that comes your way. It's not a you thing. You know what I mean? So you respect. Respect, but don't get disrespected. You know what I mean? That makes sense.
Right.
I know there's some. This is one of the comments in here in the chat from Kaz. He says that something tells me that writing about all of this is healing in its own way.
Absolutely, absolutely. And it just to be able to let it out. And even though I don't talk like I give some specific things of what happened in my marriage, but not a lot of it that happened, because it was a lot. But just for me to be able to like just put it out there. And at first I was like even afraid to publish the book, because my publisher kept pushing me to publish. You need to go ahead and do this. You need to go ahead and do this. I wrote the book in February of last year. I didn't get it published until November, because I was just like so nervous to just let people know like what was going on in my life at that time.
Exactly. Because you kind of get told as a leader to compartmentalize that stuff. You know what I mean? To kind of, to kind of like let it, to hold it in. You're not supposed to be this way. You're not supposed to feel that way. So, writing it, I'm pretty sure felt good to get it all on paper. Did it?
Yes, it did. Yes, it did. Yes. And absolutely, it was healing for me, and it really helped me. Like I said, it was like, that is it. This is it. This is that chapter. That chapter is closed. This book did it right. That was it.
And I mean, the nervous, what was it? Was it your business being put on the street? Is that what the nervous part side of it was?
Yeah.
Was that
I didn't want my business out there.
Exactly. I'm thinking, everyone's like, tells me, have you ever talked about something like that? I'm a private person myself too. I mean, it's hard to, because you also don't want to ruin like the bridges that you have been rebuilt or built with somebody else because of it. You know what I mean? That was probably the feeling that went through your head. Like, man, I don't know if I should post this, but or publish it.
Right. And then I didn't want people to think, because I would tell people all the time, like, I do not hate, even though like I went through, and I'm gonna say it, I went through hell with my ex-husband. I don't want people to think that I hate him, because I don't hate him. Right. But I have to write what happened, because I need people to understand that if you're going through something, that you can get through this thing. You just gotta you have somebody that you could talk to, or whatever your faith is and what you believe in. You have to trust that you can get through that. And suicide is not, not the way to go, that you can get through that point of your life.
Exactly. I probably, when you saw the book in hand, what was your reaction? You said it got published in November. So once you had it in your hand, what was the feeling then?
I was like, okay. So the first initial nervousness was like me again, put my business out there. And then I was like, well, are they going to read the book? Are they going to understand what I'm trying to say? And so that was the next thing after I had the book in my hand. I was like, okay, so now they're going to start reading it. What are going to be the reactions to my book? Right.
And so have you gotten any reactions yet from the book?
I have, and a lot of folks have sent me messages. They told me like they could. Some folks tell me how they could relate. Some folks have thanked me for just being open about what happened in my life. Because a lot of people that know me, they perceive me as the strong person, and I love when people throw out those memes about check on your strong friends, because yes, we're not always strong. Like sometimes we need people to check on us to see if we're doing okay. Right. So like a lot of the feedback from my book is like, oh yeah, like thank you for the book, thank you for being so transparent and open. And so I appreciate the feedback that I have been getting from everybody that's been reading it.
I was just wondering, what was your family's reaction? Did your family come back with, man, you shouldn't have said that, or has it been positive as well? I mean, like you said, I like the way you said the memes part, because there's a lot of memes that say everyone asks how things are going, but nobody asks you how things are going. You know what I mean?
Right. Right.
Yeah. So I was just curious. What was your family's reaction to it?
So my family, my family is so supportive. My family, so I have only one sister, and my sister is so supportive of me, and my daughter, like everybody's like, yeah, we're so proud of you. My niece, like all of them, like they're just like there for me. So they're happy for me. And even, the other side of my ex's family, like I've talked to his sister, she supported me, and she's like, I appreciate you being honest, So it's been a good.
Yeah, that brings a good question. I mean, did they go, I didn't know that? What was their reaction when they read it? Did it see? I mean, what was their feeling to it? Could they empathize? What was their reaction to it?
So I've only actually talked to one of his relatives, and that's the sister. And like I said, she's like, you're being honest, so don't even worry about like what people think about it or anything like that.
Right.
So I haven't talked to her since, but yeah, she was supportive as well.
So how long? How many pages is the book? Because I mean, it was. Is it a small book? Is it a big book? Is it?
It is a small book. It's 58 pages. You can sit down. You can read it at one time. Like and I wanted it that way because I wanted people to understand. Like I'm getting my stuff out there because I just want you to know how you can overcome stuff that you're going through. So I didn't want it to be long out and a long drawn out book that you trying to search for stuff, but I'm getting to the point. And in every chapter, I'm getting to the point.
You're speaking. I'm about to say that sounds like that's a CSM. That's a hip pocket training book. I was about to say, wait a minute. That sounds like you're doing a whole new CTT manual for you know what I mean, to get your name back. You know what I mean, to get that, like you said, to rebuild your self identity. I've had women women leaders in my units, and some of the biggest frustration is that right there, is that identity, is that. It's frustrating, because I, as their male first sergeant or male leader or NCOIC or something, I would be like, oh man, yeah, and it's hard. It's hard for me to get personal on some of that stuff because I have daughters, and I know, if my daughter, I'm gonna tell you what, if my daughter wants to put something on blast, I'll support it, and she can write as many hip pocket books as she wants. You know what I mean? It's one of those. Because I'm a protective dad too. So like I said, we were running a little bit late because I was talking to my daughter about some stuff, and so you always got to take time for family.
Absolutely.
Because you'll realize that when the chips are done, you're going to know who your supporters were and who the haters are. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. That's so true. That is so true.
So did you have now? With that is now everything's cool with him now, right? I mean, he knows you're on here, right? Does he know he's on WTF Moments? I mean, does he?
So no, I don't talk to him at all.
Oh, you don't talk to him at all? Okay, all right, okay.
So he does not know I'm on here.
That's what I'm talking about. That is what I'm talking about. So he doesn't know that you're speaking to a page that's got a reach of over 75 million.
No, he doesn't.
And you know what? Sometimes, teammate, I'm gonna tell you what. Sometimes those are the best victories. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Those are sometimes.
Yes.
So some of the times that's some of the best victories. You got a book out. You're talking to WTF Nation Radio and WTF Moments to shoot the breeze and get it all out to soldiers and stuff like that. Are you planning on putting this book out like in the PX or something like that, or?
No, I'm not. It's just on Amazon right now. And we just wanted to see how it would do like on Amazon. So we're thinking actually about doing it with the Kindle book.
Oh, gotcha.
So that's what we're thinking about next year.
Oh yeah, definitely. Because I use the Kindle books a lot too on the move because I can't carry a big library with me. So I use the Kindle for on the move or when I'm traveling.
Yeah,
I'll read through.
That's what we're trying to go to next, just to like put it out that way.
So I'm trying to parse my words. I'm trying to make my words not sound, because normally we don't have ordained ministers come on here. So I'm trying to be real clean with and Spanky will tell you I'm being really.
But you got to remember, I was in the Army for 31 years, so I've heard it all.
No, I know it's a respect thing for me. You know what I mean? It's almost like, So I didn't want to. Exactly that. Kurt, Thornton's right. It's just on Amazon. Don't downplay. This is amazing. This is I've seen other women leaders talk about this. Not too many of them that really talk about this type of topic, this type of subject. You know what I mean? They're usually, like you said, they're kind of guarded about it. But did you I was going to say, have you spoken? Have any public speaking events, any book signings or something like that planned?
So I'm in the process of trying to figure out where I'm going to do a book signing at. So I will be doing a book signing, but I haven't decided when and where yet.
Well, that's what I'm talking about. Oh yeah, you should do a book signing like in Fort Leavenworth, Kansas, at the CAC, where all the, you know what I mean, where you get your command leaders course.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just that's, or the Sergeant Major's Academy. But go back. I don't know if you want to go back to Bliss, but You know, some do it around. You know, like I said, do it around. You said you're around the Fort Jackson area.
I am about an hour and a half away from Fort Jackson.
Oh wow, okay. You better, man. You gotta keep us informed about this book signing stuff because now I'm curious. I'd like to get a book and have it signed and stuff like that. That'd be pretty, you know. And then, are you what? So can you give us real quick some excerpts of like a sneak peek? I mean, don't tell everybody the whole book, but some of the highlights of it.
So there's one chapter that I talk about the red flags that I saw in, like, before we even got married, the red flags that I saw. So just to put it into context, I knew me and my ex-husband, we grew up together. So we knew each other from like children, like, yeah, to adults. So I knew him. I know his family. Like we were like really close. So it's not like he was somebody that just came to my life. I knew him for a very long time. So there were red flags, and I talk about the red flags. Like there were red flags that I saw, but I chose to ignore the red flags. I knew there were red flags, but I chose to ignore them because all I wanted to do was just love him and love him unconditionally. And like I said in the book, like God loves us unconditionally. So why can't we love people unconditionally, regardless of the stuff that they've done or what they go through? So that was like one of the parts in there that I said, like, I just ignored the red flags because I just wanted to love him.
Oh, man, I feel you.
It's so bad for the rest of the world now, the men now, because like red flags are like
exactly. Everyone's like, "Oh, hey, what are you doing, Ken? Why you don't know?" I'm just kidding. No, that's it, man. I mean, male, you know, man or woman, you part of you want to be loved. You mean there is you're right. It's unconditional. There should be nothing over it. There should be nothing behind anybody's love for anybody else. And some of those red flags that you don't see, did anybody else see those red flags? Did anybody else tell you about the red flags?
So my sister, and it's in the book, so I can say it. So my sister, she didn't want me to get married yet. His sister, the oldest sister, she didn't want me to get married yet. So they was like, why don't y'all just wait? Y'all just, take your time and, y'all just wait to get married. And I was like, no, we're going to be fine. It's going to be okay. And so like, I kind of like told them like, so they were warning me like not to marry him, but I was like, nope, I'm going to do it. I was like, I already prayed. I've asked God, we're good. I'm going to do it. So yeah, we got married, and so yeah. But I don't regret any decision that I made to marry him. None of that. I regret that we didn't try to work on our marriage, but I don't regret getting married. So.
I hear you. I mean, everyone likes to make fun of my shtick because I have a lot of divorces because I like being married. I'm not trying to be like you should not want to disrespect marriage. Everyone should be. I don't know. Maybe that's the way I think, but it's like you shouldn't have married her. You shouldn't have done the same thing. And you're like, well, I mean, if you're in a relationship with somebody and the talk of marriage, and it probably felt right to you. And also, it's like what Spanky said. We're so conditioned. We're so trained to push through stuff that it was probably the NCO and you say, nah, this is going to happen. I don't care what anybody says. I'm going to do it. You know what I mean?
Right. Because it's my life. So however way it went, it just was going to have to go. But I believe that everything that happened to me, it happened with purpose. So there was a purpose behind everything happening. So like I said, I don't regret what happened to me, but I'm just blessed that I was able to write a book. I'm blessed that I got through that part of my life, that season of my life. And so, I'm just blessed.
No, I hear you. Now, the follow-up book, do you have any idea what the follow-up book's going to be about? What's some of the
So I'm going to actually talk about, like, of course, and I kind of got the title in my mind. So like about healing. So like, I'm going to talk about the things that I've done since then. So like, I've been on trips. I go on trips by myself all the time. I do road trips. I've been to Jamaica by myself. Like, I just do stuff by myself, just trips. And people are like, well, why don't you invite folks? Because if I invite somebody, that's not helping me. Like, I'm going there for me to help me with my healing. So so I do trips by myself. So that's going to be like one of the things that I'm going to talk about, like how it helped me.
Yeah, I'm telling you, I'm the same way. Treat yourself, teammate. You know what I'm saying? That's what it is. That's what it's all about. you gotta treat yourself. I mean, if it means going on a trip and going and getting like with me, I go on trips too, and I just need to decompress. And if I want to go and I don't want to tell you this to the whole world, but if I want to go get a mani pedi or I want to chill and do
your thing.
Exactly, right? Exactly. Go to a spa or something like that. A friend of mine's like, you need to go to a spa because again, like I said, I can totally relate to what you're talking about when it comes to divorce stuff. And I had friends like, dude, you just need to go to a spa. Check out the spa, and you need to hit it, and you need to go over here and do the stay spa. I'm like, no, man. And the same thing as like you. No, I'm gonna push through this, man. I got this. No one's gonna tell me what to do. It's my life. Whatever. Get out of my face. And I'm like, he's like, no, dude, I would not tell you. You need it. You relax. I'm gonna tell you what. It was so. Oh my God. I mean, it was so now every couple months, man, I feel like doing one this weekend, by the way. Just go just chill. You know what I'm saying? Just go get, just chill and talk. And, sometimes your therapist and, your ministers, you don't drink, your therapist, your barber and your bartender and your minister, sometimes the people you vent to and the person that's treating you in the spa. You know what I mean?
That's true. And I would say like, so I still, I still get depressed. I was diagnosed with depression. So I still get depressed at times, but I know how to handle it now. I know what I need to do to try to get me out of that low, how you feel when, just like, you're just down on yourself and you just don't want around people and stuff. So I know how to get or who I need to call in order to try to get me out of that. So
I'm right there with you. Yeah, I have a teammate too that I do the same thing. Or sometimes they just sense it. You'll get up, you'll sit there and you're feeling, you're feeling it. You got the feels going. You're like, man. And the next thing you'll get a text message or a phone call, and you're like, man. And you're like, man, how'd you know? That's how I got the idea of the spa. You know what I mean? Like, whoa. How'd you know about that stuff? So now that to me is a lot better and getting it out of my system than dwelling on it and moping about it.
Absolutely.
So,
yes.
So, are you thinking about, this right here, this is a good idea. I mean, doing a little day trips. Have you considered doing those strong bong things for the military, assisting with that?
So I have not. I was looking into doing like ROTC for a minute to help out like around in the schools in the area, not actually work for them, but just like volunteer to help out, but not in military related because again, I'm an hour and a half from Fort Jackson, or I think it's like 2.5 hours from Fort Bragg. So not really close to any military installation.
Now here's another thing too. Do you want to be out of the military system talking about, you know what I mean? Because I know some people when they retire, I'm being part of WTF Moments, I'm kind of connected still to the military, but do you feel like, man, I don't want to have, you're an hour and a half, man, there's some people that I don't want to have 5 states near any place that I was stationed. You know what I mean? Are you that type of retiree or you still want to keep that connection?
I am. So if a soldier calls me, like one of my old soldiers called me, they ask me for something or advice or something, I give it to them. But I'm not like 100% like all military, like all into the military thing. Yeah.
Yeah. If I didn't work for WTF Moments or WTF, I'd be the same way. I mean, I'm there for my soldiers. I mean, I have soldiers right now, and you probably have soldiers too that are now first sergeants and CSMs themselves and sergeant majors themselves. And I always get it's like almost daily now that I'll get a text. Hey, I got a soldier doing this and I got a soldier doing that and blah, 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 blah. And then we start doing the leadership stuff. Then we start talking about family stuff. Then we start talking about whatever. Sometimes I think that's an avenue for them. That's an ear for them to, that's why I'm saying, Tara, it's not you. You know what I mean? Because otherwise you wouldn't get those phone calls. Otherwise you wouldn't get that. You know what I mean? That's mentorship. That to me, mentorship goes up and down.
Yes, that's true.
It's Spanky's already saying, once my soldier, always my soldier.
Yes.
Soldier for life.
Yes.
All that. So you got to keep in touch with us for the book signing stuff. Yeah. Cause we'll share that, and you got to keep in touch with us for the book, other book stuff. Any other projects you got going on? Any other things that you want to share?
So not right now. I'm mostly like just trying to I'm in a sorority, so like just doing a lot of stuff with my sorority around the community, stuff like that. But I haven't like really done anything like motivational speaking wise, because I'm thinking about starting to do that, maybe like just do some motivational speaking. So yeah, that's probably next on my agenda.
Oh, that's awesome. That's one of those things that the motivational speaking, that I have friends that tell me the same thing. You know how Sergeant Major, what's his name? Sergeant Major John Wayne Troxel, Sergeant Major Troxel, the old SEAC. He does the same.
Yes.
He does the same stuff too. I mean, but he goes out and signs e-tools. You know what I mean? So, and does the same motivational stuff.
That's awesome.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's part. And we've got another comments in here. Part of being a leader is mentoring, and real leaders never stop that. You know what I mean? It's not a. I mean, I already tell you right now, Tara, you already sound like a go-getter anyways, that if anybody told you to stop mentoring, you'd probably tell them, yeah, right, whatever, shut up or I'll put you in a book. You know what I mean? I'm just kidding, but, I'm just... I mean, it's like, I bet you right now, it's like, there's people going, she wrote a book? Yeah, I'll talk to you later, and they hang up the phone, you know what I mean? Because they don't want to, you know what I mean? That to me, that's powerful. That's powerful for a woman in the military to write a book about something like this and provide that, because again, seeing women soldiers that I've led going through so much crap because of some of the problems that the military handed to them or what they had to deal with. It just blew my mind how it was like, oh, okay, whatever, no, it's not whatever. These are your soldiers too. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So, Tara, thank you so much for hanging out.
Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity.
If you have anything, like I said, again, let us know about the book signing, because depending where we're at, some of the members of the WTF Nation staff might be there to sign books and do some selfies and stuff like that.
Awesome. I sure will. Thank you so much. I sure will.
Because you know how kids are, they all want to get a selfie with everybody, and I got to keep up with the youngins, because they're like, hey, can I get a selfie with me? I'm like, nah, dude, I really don't like my pic. Come on, it's for this. I'm like, okay, you know what I mean? You gotta do it for the kids. So
yes, yeah, I definitely will. But I want to mention something real fast though, because I heard Spanky talking about it. Right?
Go for it.
So she was talking about the first sergeant that did the Biggest Loser contest.
Oh yeah, go ahead. What's your thoughts on it?
Oh, okay, so I actually, as a first sergeant, I did that. And I called it the Biggest Loser, right? But I did it with my folks that were in the body composition program.
Ah, there you go.
They were in teams, and it wasn't any there weren't any negative things about it. They were in teams. They worked as accountability partners. They helped each other like work out, lose weight. I had somebody monitoring them, making sure that they were doing the right stuff. But it was never like, and there were prizes at the end for the teams that won. So there were prizes at the end, but it was like they were working together to lose the weight to get off of the program.
Okay.
So it wasn't the whole unit. It was just the folks that were on the program.
Oh, okay. I can see.
Right. I
jumping
usually
in.
don't pop in here, but I have to. And exactly, Sergeant Major. And that was my whole issue with it, and was that it was everybody, and everybody in the unit had to do it. And if they didn't lose weight or gained weight, then they were going to be punished for it by having to work longer hours. And that was the whole issue with it. It's like, because there are soldiers out there that don't need to lose weight, that need to gain weight, or are trying to gain weight with muscle and stuff. So that was like my whole problem with it. It was a great idea until that first sergeant took it, to that extreme.
Yeah, the negative part of it, as far as like, punishing soldiers for not losing weight, that's crazy to me, because they got to understand how to lose the weight in order to lose the weight. So if you're not training them to how to lose the weight, they're not going to lose the weight.
Exactly. Okay, so thank you again so much for hanging out. This has been educational for a lot of us, and everybody's actually throwing some good comments in there too. So I'm digging this. Tara, thank you so much for hanging out. And Spanky will tell you this is probably the longest I've gone without dropping hardly any bad words. So
I appreciate that. Thank you.
No, I'm serious. I was, because I was talking to her before. I was like, he's an ordained minister, so I'm like really nervous to make sure I don't drop this and all that. I even took a lot of some of the content that we normally play for our guests. I kind of took it out to show some respect, so that way you could share it and then have, oh, okay, well, I like your interview, but who's that dude that was just blah, dropping all these. Yeah, so we even cleaned up some of the stingers and some of the little bumpers that we play. So that way you can share it with your ministry and all that, and then, they can be like, I don't want you to pull like your ministry license or something like that because you had me on. Hey, so guys, gals, say for you got any parting words you want to talk about? You got anything you want to say?
Just to check on your friends. Check on your friends because you never know what somebody is going through. Just ask, see how they're doing. If somebody just pops on your mind, just call them out of the blue. Just like, hey, I thought about you. Just checking on you to see how you're doing. So check on your friends.
Awesome. Okay, we'll be right back. We're going to go ahead and take a quick break. And for that, we're going to play. Somebody asked about what music we were playing. We played Kinda Hard from Bayou Bandit. So we're going to go ahead and play that again for our parting shot. So you got the 1 hour not cussing will not bring me salvation is what Kaz said. So I guess I need to stop. Anyways, Tara, thank you so much for hanging out. And again, more than welcome to come back.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Okay, we'll be right back. We're going to go ahead and close things up here. And we'll be right back. Shouts. Oh, see, I even said shots. There we go.
It's 3 a.m. and the sirens are going off. Another rocket attack. I've got my boots and got my ammo in my 50-pound sack. A 100 boys headed to war in this world unknown. The only peace of mind I've got are these letters from home. Another day has come and gone. Another night I'm all alone. I didn't think I'd be this far out here in Kandahar. Well, most of us, we made it home, but we never came back. When we close our eyes at night, we hear a rocket attack. I've tried to talk and tell you about it, but it ain't the same. All these thoughts that run through my head, well, they can't be tamed. Another day has come and gone. Another night I'm all alone. I didn't think I'd be this far out here
This station is now the ultimate power in the universe. I suggest we use it.
The voice of U.S. Army, WTF Moments. This is WTF Nation Radio.
I find your lack of faith disturbing.
Everything stated on WTF Nation Radio is to be considered the opinion of the person that stated it, and not an official representation of WTF Nation Radio or U.S. Army WTF Moments.
Price does not include tax, title, or license. Some assembly required. Each item sold separately. Batteries not included. Objects in mirror are closer than they appear. If conditions persist, contact a physician. Individual results may vary. Keep out of the reach of children. Avoid prolonged exposure to direct sunlight. Keep in a cool, dark place. And
please enjoy the show. Shots.
And we're back. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. That was a good interview.
Absolutely.
That was yeah, you guys don't look that close to getting some of my feels out there, man. I mean, it's bad enough that you guys got me to reveal that I get, I go to the spa sometimes.
Right.
You know what I mean? I mean, I don't like to do that, but it's like somebody said in the chats. You kind of joke as a dude. You get told, "Hey, go get treat yourself and go get a spa," and you're like, "Whatever." Only girls do that, You don't ever. You don't even have.
No, not just us girls.
Yeah, I was very. It's maybe that's why some of the scars that I still have on my face are kind of. Kind of ground down and stuff like that. I've had due to some injuries I've had chemical peels for my face because of scar tissue. But yeah, it's
well, even not just a spa. Just make sure you're doing something for yourself.
Treat yourself, exactly. Like I was telling you, she was. Like I said, it was awesome. That's I need to get a copy of that book and read it up. Like I said, man, that's a total sergeant major thing too. Got to hit pocket training and stuff like that. That's what I'm talking about. Straight and to the point. And don't talk around. Like we used to. Okay, fans, I'm gonna give you a secret. Sometimes when we have some people talking on the phone or somebody just going off or rambling or whatever, and won't get to the point within our internal chats. Did you ever see that Dave Chappelle show where he goes, "Yo, man, you need to wrap it up." Yo, B, wrap it up. I love direct and straight to the point conversations because that way.
Right. I think we got someone in our chat too, trying to say, "Hey, wrap it up, get the housekeeping."
Yeah.
Do you see that?
Yeah, I just saw that. Hey, CQ, I don't.
Calm down, CQ. We'll get there.
We don't. CQ. So why are you being mean to the olds? We don't do that stuff. Dude, we don't do that stuff. That's so mean, dude. Why are you being so mean? So real quick, just check it out. We also, like I said, we have the guys from the H Train and NBR Radio. They're going to be talking. They're going to be posting one of our shows too. If you looked on the timeline on U.S. Army WTF Moments and WTF Nation Radio when I went to go visit them, it's some good stuff. They have some good. They got some good content as well. Looking forward to some of the work that we're going to be doing with them as station to station stuff. So what we do, multi-station domain operation stuff. You know what I mean? It was pretty cool. But what we got going on next week? We got kicking at cause. We don't have kicking at cause tomorrow because isn't it cause? I think you're out, right? Aren't you taking a break for something like that? You have some things going on that you need to. MSDO, exactly. Did you have some stuff going on too? This being for some organizations, this is a 4-day weekend for the MLK holiday, and I got a friend of mine who's a doctor who's going to be speaking at Fort Leavenworth at the CAC. He's now a doctor, Lieutenant Colonel Chevy Cook, Chevy, if you want to call it Chevy, Chevy. But he's going to be speaking, guest speaker, which would be pretty cool. Kaz will be out of country. He'll be out doing some log cabin syrup smuggling operations for us, and he'll be out of the net. So Friday, tomorrow, there will not be a show. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe I might flip some switches and because
Kaz will not be doing a show. That much we can say.
Yeah, that much we can say. We're not saying there's not going to be a show. There may be a show. There might be a recap or a rewind posted.
We will not have our regularly scheduled programming tomorrow.
Yeah, exactly. CQ, since you like to blurt yourself in there, actor Sam Witwer is going to be hanging out with us. Hanging out with CQ and Radar his unpop culture warrior. Well, he's still a warrior, man. Come on, Radar is a look. Anybody who joins the Marine Corps and then joins the Army to be in the 82nd, that's hardcore already. You know what I mean? So, but he's going to be on to shoot. Oh man, I gotta keep it clean. I was about to say I was going to drop the S word. Almost dropped it. He's going to be on to talk to CQ and Radar about his experience as an actor. If you look up Sam Witwer on his IMDb, you know, I think we're going to get one too. I think we should do that. I think we should get an IMDb account and then have all of our guests that have their own IMDb accounts. So that way we could say, "Hey, look, WTF Nation Radio."
Yes, I was on.
Yeah,
WTF Nation Radio. Let's do it.
WTF Nation Radio is on IMDb. How come you're not on IMDb? Because that seems to be the IMDb Center of Excellence type stuff. But he's going to be on to shoot the breeze with CQ and Radar. I'm telling you what, we're ramping. I love some of the fact that we have the big guest. Now, if you guys don't know who Sam Witwer is, if you are a Star Wars fan, you know exactly who Sam Witwer is. If you're kind of like, oh, whatever, then whatever. He is the voice of Darth Maul. Yeah.
Who's that? No, I'm kidding.
You don't even know who Darth Maul is? You're so...
No, I'm kidding. I was just thinking,
oh my
I like
gosh.
the Star Wars.
Yeah, the Star Wars thingies and something like that. He's on here. He's a villain. He is a master of the Sith. So a lot of the guests that we have coming on here, all these guests that we're saying we're not going to be, exactly. He's like, he has so many Star Wars credits and he's only like 20. Is he bringing a double bladed lightsaber? So Sam Witwer. Okay. There's a lot of things too. The Rona and all this other stuff prevented a lot of our guests to come on, and also a lot of us to go do stuff on site. This is our first foray into the Star Wars realm. So you're talking Star Wars stuff. So we're now dipping our toe into the Star Wars universe with this. And this is something that's been anticipating for a long time. Individuals from any Star Wars any Star Wars like media is getting scheduled to come on WTF Nation Radio. I'm kind of like opening the seal a little bit to let everybody know what's happening. But if you guys know, he's Darth Maul on the Clone Wars, which and also has voiced and has had a digital role in The Force Unleashed. He literally is, and I'm telling you, and this is for us, it's big because WTF Nation Radio, U.S. Army WTF Moments. This is like Lucasfilm stuff that I'm so excited about, and I understand I'm keeping my composure because we just had an interview with an ordained minister, and I don't want to ruin the podcast.
You can still be fanboying just a little,
right? So we're gonna
save the fanboying.
Okay,
super fanboying for Tuesday.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm gonna say it right now. We're gonna have freaking Darth Maul, the Clone Wars Darth Maul, coming on to WTF Nation Radio and U.S. Army WTF. So this is gonna be a. See, she's a dark. She can't be talking. We can't be talking about Dark Lord of the Sith stuff when she's an ordained minister. But anyways, the bad guys of Star Wars. How about that? So look for our motif and our themes to start changing a little bit, Star Wars related, and we're so excited. He was also in Solo. He also played the voice for the Lego Star Wars character. He also voiced Star Wars Battlefront, Jedi Temple, the Clone Wars. Of course, he's been on Supergirl, Star Wars Resistance, Vader Immortal. Any game that has to do Star Wars Solo, Star Wars Rebels. So I'm gonna tell you what, and Being Human as well. I totally bought him. Yeah, he's a good vampire too. That's right. Being Human. That's right. He was a vampire. So he's gonna come on. So if all of a sudden you start noticing WTF Nation Radio kind of changing its motif to look a little Sith-like or something like that, or Dark Lord of the Sith or some evil stuff or vampire stuff and all that. That's going to be awesome. And we're so happy because, again, like CQ said, more is coming when it comes to that stuff. And if more final agreements happen and we have to sign some legal statements, then there's going to be even more stuff. That's gonna. I can't wait. I'm so excited. But yeah, so next week's gonna be a Star Wars themed week. More than likely, man. You know what? I should just like put on a stormtrooper helmet or something like that, or get in my Vader armor to kind of like talk about, just for housekeeping.
I'll allow it. Yeah. I do not have any Star Wars.
You don't have any Star Wars stuff? You don't have like a Star Wars T-shirt? You don't have a?
I probably do. Yeah, I think I have a T-shirt. I'll have to find it.
I'm gonna.
See if it still fits.
Yeah, exactly. I'm gonna have to put on my Star Wars stuff. Yeah, so there will be a show. There will be a show, possibly a show, or maybe a rewind on tomorrow. And then, of course, Monday is the Monday edition with myself. I will be broadcasting. Tuesday is going to be CQ with Sam Whitwer, and then, Wednesday's a day off. Thursday is Sergeant's time, and then Friday, Kaz will come back and tell us about his maple syrup smuggling business. But anyhow, so with that, you got any, Spanky? You got any more tomorrow?
No, I do not. Everything's good. I am looking forward. We're back on the air. We're back to doing Sergeant's time. Everybody has come back from their breaks. And, I'm just looking forward to, being here with y'all. I do have one quick thing, because this got brought up a lot in the first hour.
What's
about Sergeant Major Blaisdell and his Instagram posts and social media posts asking for everyone's help. We decided not to talk about, not to not talk about, but not to go into the issues with the, suicides in Alaska right now. We are going to invite Sergeant Major Blaisdell back on, so hopefully I can get that worked out, because we would rather, y'all hear it, straight from him and not us talking about him. Sergeant Major Blaisdell has been a guest on WTF Nation Radio before, and I am definitely going to try to get him back on to, to talk to y'all instead of us talking to y'all about what's going on in his AO.
Thank you for bringing that up, because we would rather have it, like you said, we'd rather have it coming from him than having have it. Josh, he is a solid leader. He's an awesome leader. So, so with that, everybody, thank you so much for tuning in. Sergeant's time. Don't forget, you can download us on Google Play and Apple Podcasts, and you can also, go through the 14 different platforms that we have posted live now on 2 Facebook pages, YouTube, and of course, Twitter and Twitch. Thank you so much for that one follower on Twitch, for being such a loyal audience member. Every time I always see one person in Twitch, and I'm like, I keep forgetting that we have Twitch set up. No, we're not. I honestly do too, and I sometimes forget to check just in case, our few people that do listen on Twitch, have something to say. Yeah, exactly. Y'all are gonna have to DM me. No. That's why. Well, what I did is I added to my chat main controls and stuff like that. I can see their Twitch chat, so that way those are the people that I normally when I say, you're like, where did you see that chat? That's where I normally get my comments from, is because I'll see like somebody on YouTube or I'll see somebody on Twitch, and then I'll answer some of that stuff. So, but again, just hit us up those platforms, and then more than likely stay tuned for our guest list. We're going to start building our stuff. I'm so excited because we're going to have this next week is going to be some Star Wars stuff. It's Star Wars. And it's just Star Wars next week. And it's Star Wars. That's all y'all need to know. That's all we need to know is Star Wars. And I'm going to tell you right now, CQ, if you do not get him, I'm going to tell you what right now, brother. If you don't get Sam Whitwer to say, you're listening to WTF Nation Radio as the voice of Darth Maul, dude, you might as well just pack it up. You're going to get demoted. Fired. You're fired. So you better get Darth Maul to say this is Darth Maul, and you're listening to WTF Nation Radio. Blah blah blah. Do something. Work your magic. I'm telling you. So again, thank you all for hanging out, and we want to play some Space Force music. We haven't played Space Force in a while, so we haven't. Y'all have a good night, and have a good one. Shots. Shots.
Surveyed the universe and said, let's make all of this our own. He commissioned a group of soldiers take upon their shoulders is a daunting task with relentless fear to make conquest of the last frontier. Now here we are enlisted for the glory of our nation. To say that we're the best would be an under-exaggeration. Prepared for combat with an alien race to kick their asses right in the face. Space Force, Space Force, we'll saddle up our intergalactic horse and we'll ride into the sun, yes, into the sun, where we'll take the day by planting a flag right there at its source. Space Force. They say that they've discovered life up there on Mars, so let's blow it all to hell and then claim it for ours. We'll paint the moon red, white, and blue for no other reason than we wanted to. Oh, Jupiter, imagine what you could become. A stupid, pointless planet turned into a giant gun. And Russia, so sorry, have to burst your bubble. Be a good sport now, sit back, relax, and watch us through the hubble as we celebrate the greatness of the United Planet of America. Space Force, Space Force, we'll saddle up our intergalactic horse and we'll ride into the sun, yes, into the sun, where we'll take the day by planting a flag right there at its source. Space Force. Now we'll go to infinity and beyond, beyond. You'll hear our manly voices singing Space Force strong. Though critics say sound doesn't travel in space, to which we reply sound will do as we say. Oh, Captain Kirk, your achievements, though notable and fine, as far as we're concerned, this is Deep Space Mine. And big fans, but Lord Vader, step away from the lightsaber. There can only be one, of course. Space Force. Ra-da-da-da-da-da, ra-da-da, ra-da-da, ra-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-dum-dum-dum-dum, ra-da-da-da-da-da, ra-da-da, ra-da-da, ra-da-da-da-da-da-da-dum-dum-dum-dum-dum. Space Force, Space Force, we'll saddle up our intergalactic horse and we'll ride into the sun, yes, into the sun, where we'll take the day by planting a flag right there at its source. Space Force. Space Force.
Everything stated on WTF Nation Radio is to be considered the opinion of the person that stated it, and not an official representation of WTF Nation Radio or U.S. Army WTF Moments.
Price does not include tax, title, or license. Some assembly required. Each item sold separately. Batteries not included. Objects in mirror are closer than they appear. If conditions persist, contact a physician. Individual results may vary. Keep out of the reach of children. Avoid prolonged exposure to direct sunlight. Keep in a cool, dark place. And
please enjoy the show. Shots.